Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today we will be reviewing the Winx Club collab with ColourPop Cosmetics. When I saw this collection, I got so many tags and I was so excited because I literally grew up with Winx Club. Technically I did. I mean, I only watched the first season, but I was so obsessed with the first season. So I'm really only familiar with the first 5 girls. I'm not really too familiar with Layla, Aisha. I know she comes in later on, but the first season I was literally like Winx Club was my everything. They were my muse. I wanted to be part of the Winx Club. So seeing this collection now in my later 20s, I'm still very excited. I actually did like Winx Club inspired makeup looks. I did 2 parts over on my TikTok and Reels. So I'll put that over here if you want to check that out. But I had a lot of fun doing that. That was before this collection was announced and launched. But nonetheless, I'm excited for the collection regardless. I have 3 looks, comparisons, swatches, everything you need to know about the collection. We'll talk about it today. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and hop right into the review. So as usual, there will be timestamps. So if you want to skip to a certain product or a certain look, you can just run your mouse across the timeline. It will take you right to where you need to be. But I'm just going to talk about product by product. So first off, let's talk about the eyeshadow palette. How so cute is this, guys? So this is called Just Like Magic. It is $24 US and it is a 15 pan palette. The outer packaging is more pink with all the girls on the cover, and then on the actual palette, again you have the 5 girls, but they're kind of like more separated into their own color story. And then into the palette, you just have a Winx Club color story. I feel like every shade in here, you could see it on one of the girls. It represents one of the girls some way, shape or form. So I feel like this is just a really pretty, colorful pastel palette representing the Winx Club. There is definitely a mixture of finishes in here as well. So you have the mattes, you have mattes with a little bit of sparkle in there, you have a super shock, you have a glitter, you have sort of like a putty glitter, and then of course you have the metallics as well. So there's like a vast variety of different finishes in the palette, and the palette is nonetheless very, very beautiful. I feel like there's a lot of color combos you could do with it as well. And I personally really did enjoy the palette. If anything, like my only nitpicking I would say is that I would have loved just maybe like a little bit more matte. That was something, you know, when I was creating my looks, I was like, I just wish there was like one more darker matte in here. So I think if they made this like dark blue, this glitter, if they made this glitter into a dark navy, I think I would have loved this palette like even more. I just needed like another matte, but that really is just, you know, personal preference and how you do your makeup. I personally love more mattes than shimmers. That's just like my ratio of choice. I don't know, recently ColourPop's glitters just haven't been glittering, you know? I feel like the glitter has changed, the ones in the palette at least. I'm just not, I don't know. I'm not really too sure how I feel about the glitters in the palette these days. They definitely like are more pressed, like the more pressed glitters. Before they were a little bit more looser pressed in the pan, so I don't know really what happened there. I wouldn't say this is my absolute favorite colorful palette, but I really did enjoy the looks that I got out of it. Next up, we have one of their glittery obsessed glitter gels. This is a $10 US and the shade is called Enchantix. The outer packaging has, you know, the girls on it similar to the palette packaging, but for the glitter itself, this one has a lot of green, blue and yellow reflex. I personally do like the paste more than the glitters that are in the palette. I find that this just, it's more glittery, it shows up more. However, the glitter chunks are a little bit bigger than usual, so you do get a lot more chunkier glitters on the eyes, which I personally don't mind. I do prefer something a little bit smaller, but I feel like when you're playing with glitter, having lots of different sizes is really nice for lots of dimension, so I don't mind that. I personally really like this, although I do feel like I probably do have a glitter very similar to this. I feel like a lot of glitter gels reflect this blue, green, yellow type of color, so it's nothing unique into my collection, but I do think it's a pretty glitter, and I have it on my eyes right now and I can't stop looking at the glitter. Like, I'm looking at the glitter when I'm looking at my eyes. And next up we do have these little face crystals. They are also $10 US, which is pretty expensive just for like face crystals when you could just buy like tiny stickers and, you know, works the same. But I really do like ColourPop stickers. For this one you do get a good range of different shapes and colors. My only pick with this is that these gems are like really big. I personally like gems that are a little bit smaller. They look just prettier against the eyes. I feel like when a gem is too big, it kind of looks a little odd. So I found it hard to like use these gems in my looks, but I'm wearing the green one today just at the outer edge. Looks pretty cute, but I do like the colors and everything. I just wish they were like tinier. I think they would look so much cuter if they were tinier gems. And then next up in the collection we have 3 light sticks after the tricks, the villains of a Winx Club. We got Icy, Darcy, and Stormy. The outer packaging as well has them 3 on the cover, which is pretty cute. I really like how they kind of made a character for everyone. Like, every character has their own little product, which is cute. But to speak on formula, if you guys have watched any of my other like past ColourPop reviews, you probably know that I'm not like a big fan of the blush sticks, light sticks from ColourPop. Maybe I'm just not a cream girl. I personally would love like a Super Shock instead. I find them to be very patchy on me, and maybe it's just the way I'm applying them. I feel like they pick up the product underneath it and it just looks really patchy on the cheeks, and you don't want a patchy looking cheek, right? So I technically only put this on my nose, and on my nose I like it. On my nose I like it, like it's really pretty. So for me, these are like, just formula wise, I'm just not the biggest fan. I personally can't recommend it, but usually I feel like I have a pretty unpopular opinion. Like, a lot of cream products everybody loves, I'm not a fan. There's only certain cream products I like. Should I do a video? Cream products that I like coming from a person that doesn't like cream products. That would be an interesting video, but these are just not my favorite. I just don't really recommend them, but let's just talk about the shades regardless. So the one I have right now on my nose is Stormy, which is like the purple duochrome blue type of shade. This one definitely is the most unique. Again, it does fit Stormy really well. And then for Darcy's highlighter, her one's like a green and gold highlight, which is also pretty unique too. This would be great for like my colorful looks, just for a little nose highlight. I wouldn't mind it for that. And then we have Icy, which is probably, you could say, like the most wearable, as it's just like an icy silver. But then again, it is very like blinding, so it's not so wearable, but you can make it wearable because it is a cream. It's very buildable in that way. And then lastly in the collection we have the ultra glossy lips. There are 6 different shades for the 6 main characters of Winx Club. These are $10 US each, or you can buy all 6 in a bundle for 54 USD. I personally don't think you need all of them, because even though you look at the gloss itself in the packaging, you're like, wow, that has a lot of like opacity to it. But when you're applying these onto your lips, essentially all of them are a clear gloss with different colored glitters. And those glitters are pretty micro, so from far away, all of these will look the same. You'll only see the difference if you're super up close, and you'll be like, hey, you're wearing a green glitter clear gloss, or you're wearing a purple clear gloss. Like, you know, it's just a very subtle difference. So I feel like for me, for the Winx Club collection, I would have loved if they did Super Shocks for the characters, similar like they did for the Muppets and then for the BT21 collection. You know, just having that's like more collectible to me, and it just like, there was just so much you could do with that, because all the girls, they have a main color story and they have like 2 main colors to their person. So I feel like with a Super Shock you could do a duochrome flip of those 2 shades of each member, and that would have been so pretty. And then they could have put like their face on the cap, and that would have been like really unique. You know what I mean? Like, some of these will have a more tint to others, but the tint is so sheer and not opaque at all that they are all gonna look somewhat similar on the lips. And especially with a clear gloss, you probably would apply this on top of a lip product. So yeah, in the end, it is essentially just a clear gloss with different glitters. But that is essentially the final products in the collection. Or what do you guys think? I feel like the packaging and everything, like, I get the whole theme and concept of the collection, but again, if they did that Super Shock, that Super Shock theme. I think I would have loved that more, but nonetheless, I'm happy that Winx Club did get a collection with ColourPop. I really like the looks that I got out of it. I enjoyed using the products. I mean, like the Ultra Glossy Lip is a classic formula, one of my favorite gloss formulas, so it's not like anything was really bad. But I guess just being such a big fan of Winx Club, I feel like there's just so much you could have done, you know? It's fairies, it's pretty, it's whimsical. We should have seen like duochromes, like something, just something, you know? So I would say it was just mediocre, this collection. I think I'll leave my review at that. I hope you guys enjoyed all of the comparisons and everything. We will now move into my 3 looks. I hope you guys will enjoy. Alright, so to get started with the first look, we'll be going into the shade Charm X. This is going to be the base, the transition for our eye look. So I'm just going to focus that all over my lids and then slowly blend that up into my crease up towards the brow bone. So we have a soft, gradual blend. So we're also going to take that onto our lower lash line as well, just sweeping that from the outer corner right to the inner corner. Next, going into the shade Androids. This is just like a darker minty green. We're going to focus this at the outer corner and inner third of our eyes, slowly creating that halo eye effect. So just leaving the center of our eye blank of this darker green. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit more bluey, just so it would suit Bloom a little bit more, but on my eyes it does come off a little bit more green. But regardless, it's still a really pretty shade nonetheless. So we're also going to take that onto our lower lash line, just using a defining brush. I'm going to work this a little bit closer to my waterline. Now I'm going to take the shade Sunbolt and we're going to use this at the center of our eyes where we left blank of shadow. With this shadow specifically, I wish it would have a little bit more of an orange base to it. On the eyes it looks a little bit more like golden, it's a little bit more satin and sheer, whereas I feel like if it was super foiled with an orange effect, it would suit Bloom and Stella really well. Nonetheless, again, still a pretty shade. I just wanted the color story to be a little bit more Bloom-like, but I feel like it just turned a little bit too minty to be a Bloom look. And then we're gonna take the shade Nature's Symphony. This is sort of like a pressed glitter and Super Shock hybrid. Like it feels like a Super Shock, but it has more little pressed glitters in it. So I don't know if it's like a new formula from ColourPop, but I do prefer the Super Shock on its own or a pressed glitter on its own. The mixture of these two, I just feel like the glitter is not really sticking to my eyes. It doesn't really show up as well as I would like if it was a pressed glitter, but then also like with the Super Shocked aspect, like it's just not reflective enough because of those chunkier glitters. So I'm not really sure how I feel about this shade exactly, but I am just putting that at the center of my eyes, right on top of Sunbolt. And then lastly, to complete the look, I'm just taking one of the crystal gems from the collection and just popping one on right underneath my eye. And then to complete my look, I did take the light stick in Darcy to highlight my nose, which I love it on my nose. It gives a really nice green iridescent, which matches the eye look perfectly. I did apply it to my cheeks as well, but I feel like on my cheek, it just makes my cheeks look a little bit patchy. Lastly, I did use the Ultra Glossy Lip in Stella. I just put that on top of the lip cream that I already have on. I think it complements it pretty well with the orangey peach type of shade. But with that being said, here we have the first look completed. The whole idea behind this look was supposed to be Bloom, but I feel like the color story kind of turned out to be a little bit more minty green. So not what I really imagined, but I did add a little yellow bow in my hair to look like Bloom's crown. I wore an orange shirt to represent her hair, just to give more of that vibe going, but I do think it did turn out a little bit more greenish. However, I still love how the look turned out, and I hope you guys like it too. Alright, Alright, so now onto the second look. We're going to start off with the shade Lymphia. This is going straight into the crease. We're going to be using windshield wiping motions straight into that crease socket. For this look, we are doing a lot of crease work, so I really want to focus a lot of the products there. But we are also going to take that onto our lower lash line as well, just to get a bit of definition and color on the lower lash. So just using windshield wiping motions once again. Next, moving into the shade Sounds of Melody. Once again, we're going to take this into the crease, but this time we are using a pencil brush so we can get a bit more definition in the crease. However, the pencil brush will still give a bit of diffusion there, which is good because we want it to look a little bit blended, but we still want it focused in the crease. So then we're going to switch into a angle brush to get more precise, and I'm really just going along the natural curve of my crease line. So if you have a similar eye shape to me, just go along your crease. But then I'm going to take my Unleashia Pretty Easy glitter stick in the shade number 4. I'm going to use that as a base for my inner corner highlight because we are going to go into the shade Domino in the palette, which is a pressed glitter. I'm just going to place that right on top and sort of sprinkle that out into my lid space, but mainly focusing it at the inner corner. And then lastly, to complete the look, I am adding on gems. This entire look is inspired by Lisa from Blackpink. This was one of her concert makeup, so I thought this palette would be perfect to recreate her look. And then to really complete the look, I am taking the light stick in Icy to highlight my nose. It has a nice silver reflect, which I feel like again matches the look. And then for the ultra glossy lip of choice, I of course took Bloom, the baby pink color. I am wearing that on top of a glowing lip in the shade Missy Missy from ColourPop as well. But essentially, this is the final monochromatic pink look completed. I love how this look turned out. I just love, you know, my little pom-pom hair. I feel like pink just matches my complexion so well, and every time I do wear pink, I always feel so good in it. So I really do love how this look turned out, and hopefully you guys like it too. And finally, onto the last look, we're gonna start off with the shade Zenith, which is the lime green. For this look, I want to embody Tekna, so I'm gonna be using Tekna colors because she's my favorite character. So I'm using Zenith as my base, as my transition, just working that into my crease, using windshield wiping motions, blending that out. Then I'm gonna take that onto my lower lash line as well. Next, we're gonna move into the shade Sounds of a Melody. I'm gonna focus this at the outer corners of my eyes. This sort of represents Tekna's hair for me, so just working that at the outer edges and then slowly blending that into the center, but just mostly at the outer corner there. I'm also going to take that onto my lower lash line as well. I'm using more of a defining brush, and I'm going to press that up against my waterline, and I'm going to create more of like a straighter lower lash line, as you can see what I'm doing here. Next, we're going to go into a Digital Blast, which is sort of like a very Peri purple, which is kind of like Tekna's color, you know, her main color. We're gonna focus that at the inner third of our eyes. I'm just gonna diffuse this out around the crease area. I want this look to look very whimsical, very diffused, just like the fairies. So we're just gonna focus that at the inner third, and then we're gonna move into Pure Magic, which is a super shock. It has like a silvery blue periwinkle flip to it. This is going to be our inner corner highlight, so just putting it at the inner corners and then on my lower lash at the inner third. I think this blends so well into Digital Blast, like they pair really well together. But then taking the glitter gel in Enchantix, I'm gonna focus this above my crease, just at the inner third area. This glitter is definitely a lot more chunky than others, so it does give a lot of dimension, and the glitters I see in here are blue, green, a little bit of orange as well, so it's like a mixture of colors which matches this eye look perfectly. I'm also going to focus it a little bit on my lower lash line, but at the outer third, so that way they're kind of like adjacent to each other. And then taking the light stick in Stormy, I'm going to use this to highlight my nose. This has more of like a purple and a blue flip to it. It's very, very pretty, and again suits the eye look. For the ultra glossy lip, I'm applying Flora. Of course, I do have a lip cream underneath underneath, but it just adds a bit of green glitter to it, but overall, you know, it's pretty much a clear gloss. So with that being said, that is the final look completed. This is my Techna inspired look. I don't really think it screams Techna to me, even though I did use Techna colors. However, I still like how the look turned out. You know, I love a colorful pastel look, so this is very me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this final look as well. Alright guys, so those were my 3 looks. What do you guys think? Which look was your favorite? Let me know down below in the comments. Let me know what you think of the collection. Have you picked up anything? Are you going to pick up anything? Let me know your thoughts down below. Love chatting with you guys as always. And if you did enjoy today's video, you found it helpful, if you could give it a thumbs up for me, I would appreciate it so much. We creators are struggling a little bit, so if you could give it a thumbs up, I would appreciate it so much. Thank you guys so much for watching as always. I love you guys, and I'll go ahead and see you in my next video. Bye!